Look, bro, when it comes to this whole journey towards spiritual evolution, the state of enlightenment is the end destination for each and every single one of us. However, this path does not pertain to any type of physical location you'll find out in the external world, but rather about the process of purifying your internal world.
And so the wheel turns through birth, youth, and to this moment. It will turn on through old age, illness, and death. It will turn on through all your lives beyond, over and over again, in a never-ending and meaningless cycle. And you will learn nothing. What's this? A new idea forming? What's this fleeting thought I cannot grasp? You say life can never satisfy us because we always want more. You say the only way to achieve peace is to stop wanting. You say the answer is to sit at the centre of a wheel detached from the world that revolves around you. Only then can a person achieve peace. He has awoken. He is enlightened. He is the Buddha.
So what even is enlightenment? This question is something that all of the greatest spiritual traditions of time have theorized throughout history, realizing there resides a far deeper underlying aspect to this human experience that transcends beyond the limitations of the mind and body, which once access allows man to tap into the higher realms of reality and experience firsthand for themselves the fullest potential of what this life has to offer, as one essentially unlocks the divine spark that resides within them. However, in the modern world we live in today, many of us have completely disregarded this ability to activate these higher levels of consciousness, causing us to never be able to experience the true wonders of this world. But fear not, man, because by taking a step back and reconnecting with the ancient philosophies of the past, we can slowly but surely start to uncover the esoteric secrets of enlightenment, which have been laid out in a full framework within the teachings of Theravada Buddhism, considered to be the most traditional and authentic form of the Buddhist ideals, as its roots directly trace back to the wisdom imparted to us by Siddhartha Gautama himself, aka the Shakyamuni Buddha. So enough said, bro. If you truly want to understand the route taken on this road to self-realization, then just sit back and relax, cause it's time for your boy to break this down real quick like a brick for y'all. Starting off with the 4 phases of spiritual awakening, which represents the progressive process one must undergo in order to reach nirvana and attain enlightenment by putting an end to the cycle of samsara, aka the continual state of suffering within the wheel of reincarnation, with each stage acting as a way for the seeker to widen his wisdom and expand his insights in order to break free from the illusionary bonds referred to as the 10 fetters or mental chains that inevitably keep us stuck spinning within the cycle of samsara. By destroying the 10 fetters, the noble one is freed from samsara. He has attained nirvana and will no longer return to the cycle of birth and death. But to break things down even further, these 4 phases are then divided into 8 successive states of consciousness known as jhanas, which essentially act as levels on this journey towards spiritual enlightenment. However, before we really dive into the details of these 8 distinct jhanas, it needs to be noted that there are certain prerequisites one must have in place before they can even enter, which revolves around the Eightfold Path of Buddhism, aka living in accordance to having right views, right intentions, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, and right mindfulness in order to finally tap into right concentration, which is a door that opens up the first jhana, since it is said that a defiled mind cannot gain true knowledge. For one whose mind is defiled, it is impossible to enter the jhanas. So just keep that in mind, bro. Cause just like how a bouncer ain't gonna let you in the club without an ID, a mind that has not been thoroughly refined will experience the same fee.
Where you think you're going? I'm going downstairs. Oh, there's a toll in the hole now. $10. Look, can I? I just. Stewie. Look. Come on. I. Just. You. This is. Can I? I'm just messing with you, man. You can do whatever you want. I was just kidding you. Why are you so serious?
But nevertheless, this brings us on over to the first level of enlightenment, aka the first jhana, which is characterized by a profound state of mental concentration and clarity, as one's consciousness starts to detach from all the distractions of the external world and experiences the 5 factors of vitakka, or applied thought, where one's mind is absorbed in a single point of meditation, such as the breath, vikara, or sustained thought, which maintains focus on that point without interruption, piti, or the feeling of joy one's mind experiences from the release of sensory distractions, sukha, or happiness, as one embodies a pure state of contentment, and ekagata, or one-pointedness, where the mind becomes fully absorbed in the meditation itself. Secluded from sensory pleasures and unwholesome states of mind, he enters and dwells in the first jhana, which is accompanied by applied thought, sustained thought, rapture, and happiness born of seclusion. Now, keeping things moving, the second jhana is a much more potent state of mental absorption than the first, as the factors of applied thought and sustained thought naturally fade away, since the ability to stabilize and steady the mind within the meditations is no longer something that needs any direct effort, leaving only the feelings of joy and contentment remaining. With the subsiding of thought and examination, he enters and dwells in the second jhana, which has internal tranquility and unifies the mind without thought and examination, accompanied by rapture and happiness born of concentration, leading to the unfoldment of the first phase of awakening, referred to as the sotapanna, or stream enterer, representing the point in one's spiritual evolution journey where they enter the stream of dharma, or divine wisdom, which directly leads them to the path of nirvana, as it is said that a person who attains this state of stream entry will surely achieve enlightenment sometime within their next 7 incarnations. And this all comes down to the fact that accessing the first 2 jhanas breaks off the first 3 fetters or mental chains that bind us to this illusionary world of samsara, with the first being sakya ditti, or self-delusion, referring to the false sense of self that leads us to having these individual ideas of having an I or a me. The second being vikicha, or doubt surrounding the dharmic teachings of the Buddha, and the third being silabhata paramasa, or the belief that performing religious rites and rituals without the inner transformation will be enough to attain enlightenment. By entering the first and second jhana, the mind is sufficiently calm and concentrated enough to perceive the truth. It is through this combination of deep concentration and wisdom that the first 3 fetters are broken as one attains stream entry, marking a profound checkpoint on one's road to spiritual realization, since it is said that one who has accessed this state causes an irreversible entry onto the path of liberation. So hell, man, once you step foot up in this stream, there ain't no going back to living in a daydream.
After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
But now as we continue on with the third jhana, this is where piti, or joy, also starts to fade away, leaving only sukha, or contentment, remaining, which leads to a serene state of equanimity within the mind of the meditator, as he is now completely unfazed by any type of external stimuli as well as internal thoughts. With the fading away of rapture, he enters and remains in the third jhana, characterized by equanimity and mindfulness. The noble ones describe this third jhana as dwelling in mindful equanimity, setting up the stage for a pivotal point along this journey as we now enter the fourth jhana, which is the final jhana associated with the material realms of reality, otherwise known as the 4 rupa jhanas, because at this level the meditator transcends both sensory and emotional attachments, including the last remaining source of sukha, or contentment, leaving only pure equanimity remaining in one's mind, as it abides in a neutral state of undisturbed harmony known as samma samadhi. With the abandoning of pleasure and pain and the previous disappearance of joy and grief, he enters and dwells in the 4th jhana, which has neither pain nor pleasure, only purity of mind, which opens up the door to the next phase of spiritual alignment referred to as the sakadagami, or once returner, signifying that one who has attained this state will have a maximum of 1 more rebirth within the cycle of samsara before they attain full liberation, as the sakadagami has significantly weakened the forces of the next 2 fetters. Although not fully eradicated yet, the grip of these chains have become severely diminished, finished, which prepares one for the next phases up ahead. He who has attained the 3rd and 4th jhana and has weakened sensual desire and ill will is prepared to break the remaining fetters. The next phases of awakening for the once returner are within reach. So I mean, if you made it this far, then you might as well go all the way, bro. Because as we stated before, this is where the shift from the first 4 jhanas of material form transitions on over to the next 4 of immaterial form, aka the arupa jhanas. Starting off with the 5th level known as the infinite sphere of space, where one's mind starts to drift deeper and deeper into the subtle states of consciousness to the point where they begin to transcend the perception of form altogether, essentially detaching from the body and becoming fully absorbed within the vast boundless nature of space itself. Having completely transcended the material forms, aware that space is infinite, he enters and remains in the dimension of infinite space. That is the 5th jhana. But look man, this dimension of detachment doesn't stop there. Because as we now start to enter the 6th jhana, one's mind goes even beyond the perception of infinite space, accessing what is known as the sphere of infinite consciousness, where one realizes that consciousness itself has no limitations or boundaries, leaving one's mind fully immersed in the presence of pure awareness. Having let go of all perceptions associated with form, the mind attends only to the unlimited awareness of consciousness, understanding it to be infinite and free from all boundaries, which allows one to tap into the 3rd phase of awakening, aka the anagami or non-returner, symbolizing the attainment of the higher states of existence beyond the realms of our 3D reality, as one has now fully overcome the next 2 fetters of sensual desire or kamaraga and ill will or vyapada, since they have now detached from all sensory stimuli, whether they be good or bad, causing one to be destined to never be reborn in the realm of samsara, but rather to return in the pure abodes of the celestial beings if needed to attain nirvana. Having eradicated the fetters of sensual desire and ill will through the mastery of the formless jhanas, the non-returner is now on the path to breaking the higher fetters, leading to full liberation. So now it's time to really lock in, because we got a few more chains to break before we can fully liberate, as we now approach the 7th jhana known as the sphere of nothingness, where one will experience a significant dissolution with their sense of self, causing the boundaries between your individual identity and the universe itself start to blur, allowing you to go beyond the constraints of the ego. By completely transcending the sphere of infinite consciousness, perceiving that there is nothing, he enters upon and abides in the 7th jhana.
Wow, this void sure is relaxing.
And at this point you might be wondering, what the else is there left to dissolve? Well, even at this stage of consciousness, there still lies a subtle awareness within one's mind that registers this experience of nothingness. And that too must be evaporated within the 8th jhana, as one now accesses the state of neither perception nor non-perception, where the distinctions between object and subject, or meditation and meditator, completely vanish, leaving one in a total ego death experience where they come to realize the true underlying nature of reality. Transcending the base of nothingness, one enters into the base of neither perception nor non-perception. Dwelling in this sublime state beyond any fluctuations of the mind, one has become perfectly stilled, allowing one to access the 4th and final phase of awakening known as the Arahant or worthy one, which is the point where one has completely ceased any type of attachments that bind them to the cycle of samsara, since they have now eradicated the last 5 fetters blocking them from enlightenment, which is rupa raga or craving material existence by letting go of all attachments, or rupa raga or craving immaterial existence, which is transcended when one realizes that everything is impermanent including immaterial forms, mana or conceit, which refers to the sense of self-pride that is broken when one goes beyond the constraints of duality, udahaka or restlessness that is subdued by achieving this highest plane of consciousness, and avijja or ignorance in regards to the true nature of existence, which is overcome when one directly experiences the non-dual nature of reality. When he has developed and cultivated the formless meditations to this highest degree, one becomes liberated through wisdom and attains the unshakable freedom of mind. He is called the worthy one who has attained the ultimate goal, having realized nirvana. And funny enough, if you look at the meaning of the word nirvana itself, it actually translates to as extinguishing, which of course refers to the extinguishing of all the attachments attachments that bind us to the cycle of samsara. So it is at this point where one has traversed through the 8 jhanas, broken the 10 fetters, and has attained the state of a fully awakened being who no longer has any type of mental defilement blocking their mind, allowing them to finally comprehend and internalize what is known as the 3 marks of existence, which are impermanence, or the understanding that all phenomena are in a constant state of flux, making it futile to search for a permanent feeling of joy within this temporary world, suffering, and the knowledge that external means will always be incapable of providing lasting fulfillment, causing one to look inwards instead of outwards for true bliss and joy, and non-self, or the realization that the ego, mind, body, and personality are all merely just false perceptions of who and what you truly are, leading one to uncover and peel back the layers of their core essence, which can be seen within the night of Siddhartha's enlightenment under the Bodhi tree, where he was met with a myriad of different visions emanating from the source during his deep states of meditation, including the knowledge of his past lives, the inner workings of karma within this universe, and the realization of what was later termed as the 4 noble truths, which states that life is full of suffering, the root of all suffering is attachments, attachments can be averted, and the way that they are averted is by following the 8-fold path, which eventually leads to the attainment of the 8 jhanas. Through countless births in samsara, I have run searching for but not finding the builder of this house. Painful is birth again and again, but now house builder you are seen. You shall not build this house again. Your rafters are broken, your ridgepole is shattered. My mind has attained the unconditioned state and achieved the end of craving, emphasizing the pinnacle of spiritual evolution, being free from all the attachments of the Maya or matrix and fully immersed within the divine bliss of the universe.
This is possible for every human being. It's my wish and my blessing. This must happen to you. Whether you climb Mount Everest or not, whether you become the richest man on this planet or not, your experience of life on this planet should be pleasant. You must live blissfully and go. That must happen to every human being. Everybody deserves it and everybody is capable of it.
However, in the modern world we live in today, surrounded with nothing but distractions and temptations, our signal back to the source has slowly but surely been disconnected, causing us to drift further and further away from the divine spark that resides within us, which only clouds our vision and keeps us stuck operating at a mere fraction of our fullest potential, due to the fact that all these tricks and traps circling around in our society are specifically designed to rob us of our attention and eventually our energy. Because as you've most likely heard before, where attention goes, energy flows. So by constantly being bombarded with all this bullshit, we start to lose sight of our main mission in life and fall deeper into these states of degeneracy. But by breaking free from these shackles holding us back by purifying the mind and body, we can pave out our pathway to return to these higher realms of reality and come to actualize what it really is we were brought here to accomplish, which is exactly depicted within the story of Siddhartha's encounter with the demon Mara on his path to enlightenment, who symbolizes the personification of these sensory distractions and temptations built to block one off from attaining the ultimate goal, such as lust, fear, doubt, and greed. However, by piercing through the veil of Mara's deception, Siddhartha was able to overcome this battle not through the use of brute force, but rather through the application of this wisdom or gnosis gained from these insights, representing how the road to Nirvana will only be accessed from within.
When he faces Mara, he faces himself and his own destructive capacity. But he's not the warrior trying to do battle with those qualities. He's discovered his own capacity for equanimity.
But there it is, bro. The 8-step framework to free your soul from this suffering is right there for you. All that's left is for you to take the first step. Because as stated by the Buddha himself, there is no happiness greater than the end of suffering. One who has tasted the sweetness of Nirvana knows no greater joy. So enough said, man. If you truly want to experience the sublime state of spiritual enlightenment firsthand for yourself, then it's time to hop in these jhanas like a goddamn sauna, helping you finally burn off all this bullshit holding you back from attaining the ultimate track.